My name is On the Brinker, and finally, leading up to this movie, now we're finally here. We are finally here, ladies and gentlemen. The movie that I've been anticipating for this year has finally arrived. Today, I'm finally get to review Spider-Man: No Way Home. This movie is once again directed by Jon Watts and stars Tom Holland, Zendaya, Batalon, Benedict, Cumberbatch, Alfred, Molina, Jamie Foxx, and Willem Dafoe. Now, before I continue reviewing Spider-Man: No Way Home, of course this review is going to be spoiler-free. I'm not going to talk about any plot points in this film, even though there are some plot points that are already revealed. Thank you, people who record this movie and put it on YouTube. It's so fucking dumb. I will not spoil anything about this movie for people who haven't seen this movie, so you guys are totally 100% safe with me. But I will do a spoiler review coming up very, very soon, because this is going to be a pretty hard review without spoiling it. But I'm just going to keep it as vague as possible and try to do this review for people who haven't seen the movie. And spoiler review, I'm going to literally lash out. But of course, this is a non-spoiler review. You guys are safe with me. So, I think my personal advice before I continue this review also is do not search this movie. There will be spoilers and all that stuff. It will ruin that experience for you. Even though people are not listening what Tom Holland said, no spoilers, please stay away from social media basically before seeing this movie. Or even when you want to watch the movie, just stay away from it. Because people will just record spoilers. It will ruin the movie experience for you. I literally try very hard to stay away from spoilers, and thank God there's nothing that comes up to my mind. So please do not search social media links for this movie. Please watch this movie very, very blind. Now, got those out of the way, let's review this movie. With Spider-Man's identity now revealed, Peter asks Doctor Strange for help. When a spell goes wrong, dangerous foes from other worlds start to appear, focusing Peter to discover what it truly means to be Spider-Man. Guys, you know what I'm going to say. This is probably one of my most anticipated films of this entire year. I was so pumped for this film from the moment that Far From Home has ended. I was so excited to see what Peter Parker / Spider-Man is up to, but also this whole multiverse plot and the trailers of the film. It just got me so freaking excited. There's so many theories I have with this film. Is everything coming true for me? Obviously, I'm not going to explain my theories because it could consider spoilers, so I'm not going to do that. But this is going to be a pretty hard review without spoiling the movie because there are so many things happening in this movie. The trailers are basically nothing. There's more stuff happening in this film. But obviously, I'm not going to spoil the movie. I'm keeping this as spoiler-free as possible. Let's just get over with what I think of this movie because this is my most anticipated film of the year. I reviewed every single Spider-Man movie leading up to this movie. Now, I finally get to review this movie. And what do I think of this movie, guys? Does this movie exceed my expectations? Abso-freaking-lutely! Spider-Man: No Way Home. Now, I have two favorite Spider-Man films. Spider-Man 2 and Into the Spider-Verse. Now, I have a third favorite. Spider-Man: No Way Home. I freaking adored this movie. I love this film from start to finish. From start to finish, this film was absolutely a roller coaster ride. It's a big freaking roller coaster ride. Tom Holland in this film. I want to talk about Tom Holland first because I gotta say, guys, this is not just the best Spider-Man performance by him, but I think this is one of the best Tom Holland performances in general. Him as Peter Parker / Spider-Man is still fantastic in this film, but I think he stood out than the other films he's been in. He is so great in this film. He really brings it all out in this film, and my God, there are times where I'm like, he's starting to get better than Tobey Maguire. Because Tom Holland is just getting better and better and better in his role. You follow him throughout this movie, you root for him, you like his character, you feel very bad for him when everyone knows his identity. His whole life has got to shit. And you really feel bad for Peter Parker in this movie. And I think Tom Holland does a great performance. Doctor Strange, played by Benedict Cumberbatch, is in this movie. And the thing I'm worried about this movie is that it's going to be like the next Iron Man and, like, you know, like Nick Fury in Favreau, where he's just like, they're in a movie to support Peter, and it would just felt like, oh, Spider-Man has to be the next Iron Man stuff. Not for Doctor Strange. He actually wasn't in the movie all that much, but I gotta say, I think Doctor Strange is probably my favorite side character in these Homecoming movies. I think Benedict Cumberbatch is really great in this film. He really wasn't in the movie all that much that I thought, and I consider that as a good thing. He wasn't like, you know, in the movie all the time. It was still a Spider-Man movie. Benedict Cumberbatch is just there to basically bring the problems in. And I think Benedict Cumberbatch does a really great performance still as Doctor Strange. Zendaya playing MJ in the film was really great in this film. And I think the thing that stands out in this film is the chemistry between Peter and MJ. I love them two together. It's probably my favorite Spider-Man movie couples. I love them too. They felt so real in the film, and you like them two together. Jacob Batalon is still really great as Ned, and all three of them have such a great chemistry. I like them three together, and you follow them throughout this journey throughout the movie. But of course, without spoiling anything, let's talk about the villains of the film. The multiverse, the villains that they bring from the Raimi films and the Webb films. That's the thing I was really, really pumped for, but also worried at the same time. I was pumped to see those characters again, but I was worried that, you know, they're in the film for just nostalgic reasons. That didn't happen. They're characters in this film, you get through them in this film, and you loved every single one of them. Alfred Molina returning as Doc Ock in this film, which is probably my most anticipated thing for this film, because he's one of my favorite villains in the Spider-Man movies, and he is obviously fantastic in this film. He still felt like the Doc Ock that we know and love from Spider-Man 2, and I think his chemistry with everyone in the film was really well done, and I really loved Alfred Molina in this role. Jamie Foxx definitely improved to me as Electro. I really wasn't a fan of him in The Amazing Spider-Man 2. This film, he shines. He is so great in this film as Electro, and his design in the film was absolutely better than the Amazing Spider-Man 2 design. We have Sandman in this film, we've got Lizard in this film. I don't want to talk too much about them because it will consider spoilers, but they're very great in this film. But I gotta say, guys, it's not really a spoiler because we know he's in this movie. Willem Dafoe coming back as Norman Osborn / Green Goblin. My God. I think this is probably my favorite Willem Dafoe performance in a very long time. That's all I'm going to say. The action in this movie is fantastic. Every single action scene of this film is entertaining, it's fun, it's dark at times, but it's mostly very entertaining, and it makes me want to jump out of my seat. The action was well done, the look of this movie is well done, but also this movie is surprisingly much more heartfelt and emotional and deep than I thought it's going to be. There are some really dark moments in this film. There are actually some brutal moments in this film, surprisingly. And I think Spider-Man No Way Home balances lightness and darkness really, really well. But the whole story of this film is basically Peter Parker discovering who he is, how to become a man, how to become Spider-Man. And this is basically a big thing about this movie. It's about Peter Parker learning to be Spider-Man, learning to be a man. And without spoiling it, this movie does that really freaking well. I feel like that's all I'm going to say about No Way Home because, again, it's a very hard movie to review. Because it's literally, like, you can't review this movie without talking about any spoilers because there's a lot of big standouts in this film. I would say probably my only issue with this film is, like, the first act of the film. It is a little bit rushed. Like, it's going for a plot, obviously, where everyone knows Peter Parker's identity and all that stuff. And I felt like that bit was a bit rushed. It's really rushing to get to the multiverse aspect of the film, which is great. The multiverse aspect of the film was definitely the most fascinating thing about this film. But just the first act of this film does get a little bit rushed. But other than that, I think that's all I'm going to say about this movie, guys. I will do a spoiler review of this movie coming up very soon because I think this movie is worth talking about some spoilers. Spider-Man No Way Home is fantastic. I love this movie from start to finish. It definitely exceeded my expectations, but does it much more, in my opinion. There is much more stuff in this film than I thought it's going to be. And Spider-Man No Way Home exceeded my expectations. It's definitely my favorite comic book movie of this year, absolutely. It will be on my favorite movie list, that is for sure. Is it my favorite movie of the year, though? Well, we've got another movie to talk about. But guys, overall, Spider-Man No Way Home is fantastic. Tom Holland was great in the movie. The multiverse aspect is great. Everything about this movie exceeded my expectations. This is definitely one of my favorite Spider-Man movies now, with Spider-Man 2 and Into the Spider-Verse, because I am going to give Spider-Man No Way Home an A. I'm giving it an A because of the first act, but A is a fantastic rating. This will definitely be close to my number one in the list, that is for sure. Guys, that's all I'm going to say about Spider-Man No Way Home. This is my spoiler-free review for Spider-Man No Way Home. I will do a spoiler review soon. I'm going to see the movie again tonight with another movie I really loved this year. So, guys, let me know what you think of Spider-Man No Way Home. And please do not, whatever you do, put the spoilers in the comments below. Just tell me what you think of the movie. Do you like the movie, hate the movie, or you thought it's okay? And what is your favorite Spider-Man film? Let me know in the comments below. Make sure you guys follow me on social media links down below. Facebook, Stardust, Instagram, Twitter, and Letterboxd. Keep contact with me. And make sure you guys subscribe to my channel, notified for my latest movie reviews and other movie related content. And have a nice day.